Good Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully it's dry where you are. Kind of pouring rain here in Shelton. It's Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Hi everyone, I'm Rob Adams. Donald Eng to my left as we look forward to chatting sports with you for this edition. Included on this show will be the new head boys basketball coach at New Canaan High School. Can't say Stanford anymore. Danny Melzer will join us in a couple of minutes as we bounce a few other things around. The Andrews in-house as well, so maybe we'll grab them back over for a few. So, Donald, how are you today?
Well, I'm thinking it was a bad call on leaving the umbrella in the car, but other than that, can't complain.
We'll see. We'll see if we can get these these rain clouds out. I know you got to go get your lovely daughter in the not-too-distant future, so you're going to need to be braving those storm clouds in a few minutes.
We'll be fine. We'll live.
We'll get through it,
We'll
right?
get through it.
You know, really the big news of the past 24 hours kind of hit not long after we went off the air, and that is adios, at least as right now, to the, as I said on coffee break this morning, the scourge known as the 50-point rule.
Yeah, you know, it was the much unloved rule, and you know, and I kind of think it was well intentioned. But as these things go, it just it was unworkable because it tended to make a mockery of the game. So the 50-point rule has been replaced with running clock. If a team is winning by 42 points or more in the third quarter, or 35 points or more in the fourth quarter, they go to a running clock, get the game over with, get the kids off the field, you know, and just get the game over with. There's no real point. The game is no longer competitive. So you know, I think a very good development.
I think it is too. I think it's long overdue. It was 10 years that they kept it from 2006 to this past season. A couple of coaches did actually have to sit, only a couple. A couple also had theirs, were able to appeal and have it overruled or overturned, if you will. You know, such as Dave Catalina, who was right down the road at Bridgeport Central, literally week 1 of 2006. He was going to have to sit for beating Bassick pretty significantly. I believe it was 56-0, if I recall. But look, it all grew out of what we all euphemistically called it the Jack Cochran rule. Because Jack Cochran, whether he was at Bloomfield or New London or New Britain, he was beating you by 40, 50, 60, and even 81-0, I think was the one, if I recall off the top of my head. And then, you know, in our everybody gets a medal era, we all began to kind of wring our hands over, oh, our little Johnnies can't lose by that many points. And I understand where people were coming from. I think running clock was always the right answer. I said that 10 years ago. I'm glad today we're finally saying that's the right answer.
Right, and the thing is with you know, we as we called it the Cochran rule. It wasn't so much I don't even know if it was so much the margin of victory, but you know, kind of the way. I mean, you know, I think the fake punts for touchdowns when you're up 60 points were a bit excessive.
I don't dispute that. Right. What I would say is the spirit of that rule was so bad that I saw Greenwich in I believe it was against Danbury. They were beating Danbury pretty significantly. And to keep Rich Albanese from being in the teeth of the 50-point rule, he actually had to have his kick return team or his kick defense team kind of part the sea and let Danbury score a touchdown, which nearly caused more trouble on the field, because what opposing coach wants to see that?
Right. No, there's no question about it. It was just badly legislated all around. You know, you would see that. You would see. I mean, because you know, even if a coach, you know, you put a coach in a bizarre position because he could put his subs in the game, he could put his JVs in the game, he could put his freshmen in the game, but they still have to play football. I mean, you know, even you put in your sophomore backup. You know, this might be the first time he's ever actually been on the field for a varsity game. He wants to play. You can't tell him not to play. So yeah, the development of going to a running clock, just get the game over with, get it in the books, and you know, and everyone plays again next week. That's certainly that's definitely a positive development. Much better than just kind of like mandating this maximum margin of victory, but which you then can appeal if you exceed the margin of victory, or you know, you can be in violation of it. You can be winning 56-0, and then let the other team score. And now it's 56-7, and now you're back under the cap. So it tended to use an old baseball term. It made a mockery of the game.
It really did. I saw too many situations where coaches were having a quarterback take a knee in the third quarter. I saw all kinds of things that we just didn't need to see. I think it can be best managed. And I don't even necessarily love the fact that we're going to put it in the hands of the officials to have this be like an automated system now where, oh, you're up 35, okay, we're going to start running the clock. I thought the original idea where you could go to a coach and say, look, aren't we getting a little out of hand here? Can we start running the clock? Let the guys on the field resolve it all. But this is a good compromise. I'm satisfied with the way they're doing this.
Well, you just raised an interesting point, though, because as I was thinking, and I haven't seen the actual text of the rule. I've seen the write-ups about it. But if you're up by 42 in the third quarter and they go to running clock, now if the other team scores, do you take back the running clock? Do you stop now the running clock? Do you then go back to conventional football timing until the third quarter when you go back to running clock because now you're up 38 points or what have you? So I am curious a little bit to read a fine point on that.
Yes, absolutely true. And again, this all just kind of hit yesterday afternoon, and it's going to, we're going to see it come into reality in September. So,
right.
We'll see. I mean, there are going to be those games. There are going to be blowouts. That's all there is to it. But this, I can't even believe it went 10 years because of the way it was really mocked nationwide and at times even worldwide. I was seeing Connecticut football get hammered for this decision. It just did not seem to be the best way to go. Now, I agree with you. There are clearly times when you are running up the score. And it still happens, by the way, outside of Connecticut. There are still times when a coach is going for 2 and they're up, 50 in the fourth quarter. You're still passing the ball pretty sufficiently. When the score is really being attempted to be run up versus you're trying to work on things.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And as we've been saying, and I think that this 50-point rule, it needed to go. It was a surprise development, because usually you kind of hear that they'll be taking a look at it, they'll be discussing it, it's up for discussion. In this case, I hadn't heard anything about it until it just was announced that it was gone. So it was a bit of a surprise, but a welcome one.
It is. I agree, and I know. I can say, for instance, that Lou Marinelli at New Canaan was very much in favor of the 50-point, the score management concept. We interviewed him about it. I know he was a big proponent of it. I just think this is the better way. And I love Coach Marinelli, I do, but I think this is the better way to go for everyone involved so that, we're not having these arbitrary, okay, you got to sit next week. I mean, think about it, and I know our crew can remember this. How crazy was that Mike Collins night where he's on the verge of throwing a 10th touchdown pass, and if he did, if I recall, that would have put it over 50 points at that point. Would Bob Maffei, the opposing coach, and of course the opposing principal was also involved in those decisions, would they have then stood up for Lou Marinelli and said, oh, he wasn't running up the score, let him coach next week? Or would they have said, see you in a couple of weeks, Lou?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I would have done, but
you would have made him sit.
I would have been, okay, Lou, great pass, Lou, sit.
I was actually okay for them going for the record that night, I have to admit, but that's a topic for another time. We will have Danny Melzer coming up here on the show. Very curious to talk to him and about why he would leave his alma mater and head over to New Canaan, kind of where he sees the future of New Canaan basketball and really where he sees the future of Stanford basketball as well. I'm interested to talk to him about all of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard to remember now, but he did take over a Stanford team that was kind of down back when he took it over, and of course they've been now fixtures in the Class XXL and in the FCX tournaments. So now he's definitely got a tough challenge ahead of him in New Canaan.
It's going to be exciting. We will take a break. We'll come back and talk with Danny Melzer. Got more to do as we roll on for a Tuesday. It's Nutmeg Sports on a rainy day. You got nowhere else to be. Stick around with us right here on the HAN Network.
For more than 50 years, Triple S has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, Triple S will get the job done fast, big or small. At Triple S, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at triplesclean.com or 203-847-8000.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. My property taxes on my single-family home were close to $20,000 a year. Now that I've downsized and I'm in a townhome, and because of the condo tax laws, my fees have gone from $20,000 down to about $5,300 with the star exemption. There is no other townhome that compares in the area. This is where I want to be.
Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network, along with Donald Eng. I'm Rob Adams, and I told our guest I was going to give him a little surprise. I've got a little something that I found this morning in the archives, because I had to do a little digging to make sure that that this did really happen. So, January 30th, 2001, game at Stamford High School. The Greenwich Cardinals met the Stamford Black Knights that evening. Final score was 65-43 in favor of the Black Knights, who were 7-6 on that night under head coach Jim Moriarty, 6-6, I believe, in the FCAC. And the captain, wearing number 4, averaging just under 15 points a game, scored 16 points to lead the Black Knights that night. And that's our guest, Danny Melzer. Danny, how you doing?
Very good, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
How about that?
Yeah, that brings back some memories.
I was saying, you don't have a yearbook photo you can throw up on the screen there?
and you know, the reason I have that is I broadcast that game on the radio that night.
Really? It's crazy that that's 15 years ago. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I remember that game. Those high school basketball is the best, man. I miss it for sure.
That was a good little team you had there at Stamford. I'm looking at some of the names in that group, and I remember a lot of those players. Fun time, certainly, to look back on.
Definitely. Yeah, I still run into some of my teammates every now and again, and we always reminisce about that year. It was a lot of fun.
Now, first of all, we have to congratulate you. You are now the head coach of the New Canaan Rams boys basketball team. What made you want to go to New Canaan? What made you make this decision?
It was an extremely difficult decision for me, one that I thought about for a long time, and I talked to a lot of people to get a lot of different perspectives about it. And at the end of the day, as a father and a husband and a teacher and a coach, I have to think about the big picture. And the big picture was that New Canaan is an unbelievable opportunity for me and my family. And so I jumped at the opportunity. That being said, I have nothing but fond memories at Stanford High. I'm very grateful for everything they've done for me as a student, as a teacher, as a coach. It's very bittersweet for me because I'm going to miss Stanford High and all the great people there and all the support that I had there. But this was an opportunity for me and my family that I just couldn't pass up on.
And of course, as I mentioned, you played for Jim Moriarty at the time. You became an assistant under him. You replaced him. What did Coach Mo say to you?
It was difficult. It was not an easy conversation to have. It was one that I kind of avoided for the most part. But he is, at the end of the day, he's going to support me and have my back no matter what. He was sad to see me go and wanted to see me stay at Stanford High, but at the end of the day, he's been like a father to me, and he understands the situation, and he supports me.
Now, Coach Don here. Now you're going to take over a team that was 4-16 last year, so a bit of a rebuilding job in front of you. But actually, not the first one. Your first team at Stamford, 6-14, according to Dave Stewart there at the Advertiser. What is it like taking over a team that has had some adversity? And how did you go about building the Stamford into the program that we now know, qualifying for the state tournament 3 straight years?
I'm looking forward to the opportunity, to be honest with you, Don. Their record doesn't resemble what they had coming back. There's a ton of experience coming back to this team. 7 or 8 seniors that have all played varsity minutes. A lot of them have played several seasons of varsity minutes. So I don't get too caught up in the record in terms of rebuilding. I think these kids, I met a lot of the kids yesterday for the first time, and they're excited to get going, and they're excited to, learn our new system and learn what we're going to do and buy into what we're going to do. And, for me personally, I think where I'm going to begin my focus with the New Canaan basketball program is on defense. I really want to. I really believe that you got to play good defense to be a good team. Something Jim Moriarty always said to us, even when we were players, is you can have off nights on offense, but you can never have an off night on defense. So, we're going to certainly live by that to begin with, and that's where I'm going to start my focus.
You kind of you kind of jumped my next question, because you had said that you had met with your team and you had told them that what you were going to be doing. So when you look at New Canaan, when you played them this year, when you've been playing them, what do you see as the area to address? I know you said defense, but what kind of things as a coach when you look at New Canaan basketball, like what do you see as the first thing you need to do?
Yeah, well, like I said, my primary focus is going to be on the defensive end. Establishing an identity of playing good team defense, a lot of man-to-man principles, doing the little things like boxing out and taking charges and diving on the floor. Those are all things that may not seem that important, but I firmly believe when you do all those little things, they start to add up to success. And then on the offensive end, I want to push the ball before a little bit and try to get everybody involved and play a lot of guys and kind of make it more of an up-tempo thing. I can't sit here and say for sure exactly what I'm going to do until I see the personnel, and see them on the court. But I have some ideas what I want to do, and I think New Canaan will embrace that, and I think we're going to be successful. I'm hoping we're going to be successful with that.
Do you set a goal at any point, Danny? Is there a point that you say to yourself, okay, I want us to reach X number of wins, or I want us to reach, this kind of defense, or, what kind of goal can you set in your mind?
Well, making the state tournament is always a goal. I believe the last time New Canaan made the state tournament was 2009. And so that's certainly a goal. Making the FCI playoffs is always a goal as well. I don't know the last time they made the FCI playoffs, but I'm assuming it's been at least since 2009, if not longer. So those are two of the main goals. But before you get to all that, we've got to make sure we're competing every day, and it starts in practice. It's going to start in the off season in terms of weightlifting and conditioning and getting our bodies ready for the season. And then it's going to hopefully carry over into practice. And if we can establish competing every day in practice, I'm hoping that'll translate to the games and get us some victories.
Talking with Danny Melzer, the new boys basketball coach at New Canaan High School on Nutmeg Sports. And Coach, as I look at the end of last season, I wasn't sure that I saw West Hill doing what they did. It seemed like a very wide open conference, and I feel like it's going to be again going into this year. Do you get a sense of, and I know we're months out, but as we sit here right now, just for the fun of talking, do you get a sense of what you think the FCIAC will be like?
Yeah, last year, heading into last year, I believe 15 out of the 16 players that were on the first or second team All-FCIAC were all seniors. So outside of Tyrell Alexander, everyone was gone. So there was a lot of question marks heading into the season. I think this year there's a lot of stars returning. There's a lot of first and second team All-FCIAC players returning. So I think the league is going to be stronger this year than it was last year. And I think some of the better teams are going to be a little bit more obvious. Last year it was basically Danbury and then everyone else heading into the season. And I think this year there's probably 6 or 7 teams that are really have been talked about in the off season. We all know that doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but I do think as far as individual talent is concerned, there's a lot of returning players that that are very good players. And New Canaan has one in Tyler Sweeney. Ward has Brancato. Wilton has Williams and Cronenberg. Staples with Casperia. Danbury, Marcus Fox. He was awesome. Connor Harkness from Greenwich. Omar Telfor from St. Joe. So the list can go on and on. There's a lot of good returning players. So I think as the league is wide open, but I think it's going to be a lot stronger than it was last year. So I'm looking forward to that.
Coach, you said a wide open league. Totally unfair question. Who's finishing ahead in the standings next year? New Canaan or Stanford?
Well, I hope New Canaan. I have a lot of love for Stanford High. In fact, when I told the kids that I was leaving, I told them I hope they go 19-1 next year. But that one being New Canaan, that one loss being New Canaan.
You're a fan of the.
I'm sorry?
No, because you're a fan of the Black Knights 364 days a year.
That's right. Exactly. I won't be rooting against them at all, except when we play them. Then I will be rooting against them heavily.
Well, Danny, you're always a good sport, and love talking with you about basketball and everything else. And thanks for a couple of minutes. Again, congratulations, and we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me, guys.
Anytime. Danny Melzer, the head basketball coach, formerly at Stanford, now at New Canaan. We'll take a break. We'll come back, put a wrap on this edition of Nutmeg right after this on the HAN Network. Keep your future star active and happy this summer at Future Stars Sports Academy camps and clinics. The Academy is offering sessions throughout Fairfield County. Sign up for a week of basketball, cheerleading, football, or a multi-sports camp. At Future Stars Academy, children learn the fundamentals while under the supervision of qualified coaches. And what sets the Academy apart is its special Lessons of Life sessions, teaching values and focusing on building self-esteem, friendships, and honesty. Located at Sports Center, Connecticut in Shelton and in Sports in Trumbull. Register online at futurestarssportsacademy.com.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Back with you on Nutmeg Sports for our final couple of minutes. Want to make sure, since we talked about yesterday, Don, and it's been getting the attention I hoped it would, the passing of Pat Summitt, the great basketball coach at Tennessee. Her passing at the age of 64 really seemed to resonate today. But it's been a sad day. Not only Pat Summitt passing away, but now Buddy Ryan, the announcement that he passed away earlier. A quote just came out from Rex Ryan. I saw it just here in a tweet from the Buffalo Bills saying, and this is Rex Ryan speaking, quote, "He was many things to many people, outstanding coach, mentor, fierce competitor, father figure, faithful friend, and the list goes on. But to me and my brothers, Rob and Jim, he was so much more. He was everything you want in a dad." So we lost a couple of giants today in sports.
Well, what's interesting is I didn't know this until just very recently. But we know what the 4-3 defense is, or the 3-4 defense. The 46 defense was not named after the formation; it was named after a person. A strong safety, Doug Plank of the old '85 Bears. When you brought him up onto the line of scrimmage, that was called the 46 defense because he wore number 46.
That's it. That's all it was. It was that simple. So sometimes it's the little things, the easy things. But two real giants in sports, and I'm glad that, like I said, I was afraid that to a certain extent, and I think it is okay to talk about Pat Summitt on this show for what she meant in a matter of speaking to Connecticut, but I think to athletics at all levels, and especially female athletics, but I think it's resonating with not just women's athletics today. It seems to be sticking with all athletes, and I'm glad for that because she was that kind of person.
She really was. I mean, she really would have been a success. You would think just in just about anything with the dedication, attention to detail, perseverance, just determination and work ethic, plus given an opportunity, which a lot of women weren't back then, and now they are, and it's really great to see.
Yep. Funny story I heard this morning was the reminder that the 76ers actually wanted her to be an assistant coach at one point. And then they realized what Pat Summitt made down in Tennessee, took one look at that and went, oh, well, thanks. Best of luck, coach. So, certainly a sad day in sports. But, that's why we do what we do. And I was saying to you off the air, I give a lot of credit to Danny Melzer because what he did was he came on the air and he didn't just give us coach answers. He gave us answers. And he's a good dude. He's going to do very well at New Canaan. I really believe that. I think he's on his way to becoming one of the true big coaches in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a challenge in front of him. It's been 7 years now since New Canaan has even finished 500 in their last state tournament appearance in 2009. So he's got a big challenge ahead of him. He's got some players coming back, and obviously he brings with him the winning tradition of Stanford basketball. So I'm very curious to see what'll happen at New Canaan because it's not a traditional basketball power. But but with the right coach, if the kids buy in, anything can happen.
And one more thing, in terms of people moving, and 'tis the season, we see people moving around. We haven't mentioned it on this show, but I really like Tracy Nichols, the now former athletic director at Trinity Catholic. He stepped down as well. He's going to stay as a baseball coach. Always was a very passionate baseball man. He'll continue to teach and do some things around Trinity Catholic High School, but best of luck to him. He's been an AD there for a long time, and a guy with a biting sense of humor, but that many liked you.
Yeah, that is true, and it's always. Trinity Catholic, I think of them as like the little school that could, a Class S school competing in a league of Class LL programs. They really do themselves proud most years, and it's just a good guy and just a great story there with Trinity Catholic, the little school battling giants week in and week out.
And just another one of those ADs that was always so accommodating to us, especially when we would roll in the town with the RV, and they'd make sure we had the room and all the athletes. It was like clockwork when we would go to Trinity, among other schools. I'm not saying that's the only one. Just really good job of just being there for us. I remember basically when we did the tour last summer for the fall season, he more or less opened the campus to us. We pulled up and it was, if my memory is serving, basically AJ Simonowski, myself, and a few others kind of sitting there looking at each other going, there's nobody here. And Tracy showed up, got us all hooked up, got the athletes to us, had great conversations in a blazing sun. I remember that for a long time. I think I'm still working that sunburn off. But, just more of the great people that are in this conference. And I'm glad he's sticking around.
Right. And it's one of the things that the viewers, of course, don't see. But these administrators, that some of them, especially him, so accommodating. And when they are accommodating like he is, it's just so much. Everything is better. The broadcasts are better. The kids have a better time. They enjoy it more. The athletes, 'cause that's really who it's all about. And so hey, I'm glad to see that he's going to be sticking around at Trinity.
I am too, and at least as a coach. So be interesting to see who the new AD will be there. We already know the new ADs in a couple of other spots. I know Ludlow and Ridgefield off the top of my head getting new head men. So at least, or head women, at least 3 changes around the conference.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it happens every year, but it's just it kind of seems like this year there's a little bit more movement. But you know, the conference will certainly have a little bit of a different look to it next season.
Now, will you make your way back here tomorrow, hopefully for a few minutes?
I will do my best.
All right, that's the least we can ask. Good show today. Danny was great.
He really is. You know, a good guy, as you mentioned. A lot more forthcoming. And not that you expect him not to be, but you know, coaches give coach answers, and he didn't. So I definitely appreciate that.
And that's okay. You know, coaches are going to give coach answers because they're going to be protective. But the one who does step out on the limb a little more, got a lot of respect for that. So we are back with you tomorrow. Of course, Wednesday, always busy around here. CT Pulse back in action tomorrow, and of course, coffee break as well. And Don and I, or Dave and I, or Andrew and I, or some combination therein will be standing here tomorrow for Nutmeg Sports. Eric Gendron, though, is going to hit the adios button right now. That'll do it for this edition. Again, back with you tomorrow. Looking forward to it. For Donald Eng, our entire crew, I'm Rob Adams. We'll see you tomorrow on the HAN Network.